Hello, ladies and lady bros. I'm Stephen, and this is Mark. And this is you could say, a little test running of television. And Mark, is there anything in particular that you'd like to talk about today?
Well, Stephen, thank you for asking. The thing in particular I would like to talk about would be my personal journey with Genesis.
Okay. Genesis, I'm assuming you're not talking about the first book of the Bible.
No, we're talking about the first book of the Church of Doof.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah.
So, like, when you say Church of Doof, are you talking about legitimately starting a church, or is that just another name for a party? Or
No, legitimately starting
okay.
a Church of Doof.
Yeah,
So,
okay.
And that's all encompassed in a theology that I like to call Doofism.
Okay.
And to be honest, Steve, I'm just making it up as I go along. But there are people that are getting really excited about it. And it comes from, it was really only about 5 months ago, that somebody posted up on Melbourne Doofers an idea, a thread that wouldn't it be great to have Doof as a religion? And then people spoke and whatever, and then a few ideas came from that. And I asked, can somebody do up a logo? And somebody did up a logo, Doofism. And it was like, I think it was like that. Right, yeah, Doofism, right? Yeah, that's cool. Right, just done the logo. Sweet. And I stuck my hand up.
Yeah.
To be, I gave my credentials and experience and whatever, and I stuck my hand up straight away to be the leader of this movement called Doofism. No one argued with me. so I just thought, all right.
Now we have a new pope.
And now, well, that's it. I just sort of created it myself and thought, well, I'll just kind of roll with this. But anyway, I was just thinking about that. And the thought was just in the back of my mind until I met, I've got a little slide thingy here and I'm going to go there, and until I met this bloke. So this guy here, his name is Adion Asfar. Beautiful soul. One of the most amazing people that I've ever met, who had connected very deeply with a piece of land near Dalesford, Trentham. And he'd been trying to get me out for a while. Hello, doorbell.
That's just to let you know, gang, that we're keeping it real.
Yeah. So we get out there to this property, and we're looking at the lake. And when I get there,
it looks lovely.
Oh, it's amazing. It really is. And when I got there, the feeling that I had when I first got there was just calmness and serenity. And as I get in, I'm seeing, like, there was no one to introduce me. I just drove through the farm gates and in there, and I'm just like, oh, where do I'm not sure. I'd never been there and didn't know. I just had directions. The property is actually called Green Acres. So, yeah, go to Green Acres. Oh, beautiful. So go down and keep driving down, and then I get in there and I see this beautiful lake, and I drive in and I was just feeling awesome. Get out of the car, and then I see a machine, a lot of noise being carried on the other side of a fence towards the back of the lake, and it was a tractor putting a heap of sand down to make a beach, and that's the beach there that you're seeing in the photo that just got laid down just as I arrived. Yeah, beautiful. So James Hook soon turned up as well, good mate of mine, and then he was there with his dog and his young boy, and I was there with my two girls just out on a visit, and so we got the kids had their bathers and whatever, and we had fun. It was a nice, beautiful, warm, hot actually day, but it was just really nice in the water. Went for a swim, in the lake and went for a cruise. And then we see James. You can see him popping out of the water there, like Hugh Jackman, right? And his gorgeous dog Jess, and the little boy Mason. They're playing along. There he is, a rock star. I don't think. See, I had the super zoom on there. I don't think he saw me, but it looks like he's posing though.
Yeah. Let's just go with that.
Yeah. And anyway, he's another couple of poses. So there's Bella's the little one, and Ayla's the bigger one. Yeah. So they just loved the place too. So they were vibing really high.
Okay.
And in fact, they couldn't sleep all day, and they were really becoming unmanageable. So we had to go. But they're picking the flowers, and it was the first time that they'd ever been sort of out the bush or to a farm or experienced or any of that.
Yeah.
So they were absolutely loving it. And so we'd set up the sound system. We were playing tunes. You can see young Ayla there rocking out a little bit as we're testing the sound system and having some fun. And so as we're kind of just sitting around talking, conversation came up from Adion, who said, look, I'm thinking of putting on a gig over Easter. Cool. Well, what are you thinking of calling it? And he said, it was almost sheepishly, I'm thinking of calling it Genesis. And well, that's fantastic, because I'm thinking of starting a religion and calling it Doofism. And Adion's gone, well, let's build a Church of Doof down there and celebrate Doofism, and we'll start with it, and this is what we'll do. So fair enough. And then, like, the words of that, I can't see it because I'm blind. I need my glasses on.
Do you want me to read it out?
Please read it out.
Genesis, an exploratory adventure into the spirit of Doofism, neo-shamanism, magic, and what's that? Entheogenics? What's that? Is that
entheogenics? No, we don't know that.
Moving on.
Yeah.
Art, music, culture, and what is the spirit of Doofism? Doofism is the gateway into the state of trance and dance. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was Doof, and it was good. From the first Doof, many Doofs did follow, and a great rhythm was born, weaving its way through the void of creation like a great pulsing serpent. Many new beings emerged, frequency and light, water and rainbow, star bright, earth and form, and blood and bone, and it was all good. As the rhythm flowed, it rose and dropped. A seed emerged and then gave birth to a sacred garden. Some called it Eden from long ago, a land of fire, wind, rivers and stone, with birds and trees and lakes and springs. A space was made for the Doof to be. Reborn from sound into flesh and form, these children rose with hearts of gold for the love of Doof that was in their soul. They came, they doofed, they danced, they played, and with their art, they made the day. And it is good.
And it is good.
It is good.
So just after he wrote that, so he was up early in the morning in the bus. So we'd had the chat at night, and he had a vision, and these words came through him.
Okay.
And then, so I'm an early riser as well. So in the morning, I wake up and he's all excited. And he's like, come check this out. So as I read it all, I felt it, like tears were streaming down my face. Yeah. Oh man, that's beautiful. But and it was good. Like, no, mate,
yeah.
It is good. And that's really the only change that I made to it. It was just a really powerful moment for us, and we just really felt the goodness of it. So then we had that flyer and went around and did what would you call it? Toilet bombing doing all the promotions, going into all the toilets and put them up there, just in the right spot. So
I just need you to clarify, all the toilets in Victoria?
No. Right. Sorry, I didn't need to clarify.
No, it's okay.
At Esoteric.
Clear it up.
At Esoteric,
okay,
which is
right. So
which really
all the toilet bombing at another.
Yeah, at another event.
Right.
So James was there, and Adion were there as part of the crew of light workers to help hold space, and that's a whole episode in itself to explain that. And I was there as a public safety officer, and that's a whole other episode in itself, that journey. But just getting back to this, so we had a great time dropping these around and planting the seed with people, because it's a perfect place to plant the seed. Esoteric, such a fantastic, beautiful festival, all in the right groove, and it was so good to connect with a lot of people that we hadn't seen in years, and a lot of new people, and speaking to them about what was going on. So planting the seed there for the gig was a lot of fun. And then Adian came up with a beautiful artwork combined with the lake and the logo and a couple of little creatures on the side. And then I wanted to come up with some logo ideas for Doofism. So started with the speaker cone. That's yeah. Yeah, so now Marley McNaughton, amazingly talented artist, amazingly talented at everything, but a beautiful, beautiful man that's really deeply connected with his art and with and the design and everything. So he freehand drew those from my picture that I sent through and the ideas that I gave him about, righto, we're going to go Doofism, start a movement. So we got about to doing that and refining it. So these are the levels of refinement. So then it got to the doof. So we put a speaker ring around it and then put the words doof in there. And that was really cool. And then as I'm going around the house, I was actually in Sam's studio. There was like a tablecloth just on the ground by itself, like that I picked up. Like was out of place. And then I look at it and it spoke to me. And that was when I put the two together and thought that this would look really ideal as a logo if I put them together. And so so that was the thing. So we put them together, and from that I had no idea about Angel Metatron, I've got an idea, it's a pretty symbol picture. So I since got into it and studied Metatron and studied the true meaning of it, and just thought, wow, it's a really...
I drew it the other day for the first time.
Wow.
And I have to say, because I was listening to this guy talk about it, and he said, look, learning about it's a cool thing, but he said, honestly, this whole other thing happens when you draw it. So I actually went and bought a compass, because that's all you need is a compass and a ruler.
Yeah, right.
And you start by drawing the seed of life and the flower of life.
Yeah.
And then out of that comes Metatron's cube.
Yeah.
And it's interesting, a guy last night, I was listening to talk about some other stuff, and the Pythagoreans had a belief that there was a whole language in just the lines from... There's this other creation that's not quite Metatron's cube, but it's real. I know it's Metatron's cube, but without all the circles behind it when you see that.
Yep.
And they were going on about how they had this whole language, and then I've been getting right into it. So buy a compass and have a go.
Well, I will now. Yeah. Thank you, and get me, I don't know, more connected to the symbol and the meaning of it and everything else. And I actually did. When I studied upon it and I learned the sacredness of it, I actually asked Metatron. I'm like, right. Dude, is this all right? I want to use this. I want to combine this. I want to.
Because that name too, it's like you don't want to upset a dude called Metatron.
No. No.
There's no way.
Anyway, so what I got back was just almost laughter, almost as if you're... You dickhead, why else did you think I left that bit behind? Come on, wake up, get with the program. And so, and so here we go. So here's James and I. We just got some speakers loaded up, and we're off to build the site.
Off to the future.
And off to the future, and off to build some toilets. Nice. Make sure that we give a shit about people giving a shit, because all of it's important, and with my experience of festivals, toilets one of the most, you got to get that bit right. You got to get that like. Anyway, so no, we didn't want any of the plastic ones or whatever, and we've got a whole. That's another story in itself. Okay. We'll talk shit another time.
So we're talking about the way that the actual church as a body and the events those bodies interact with the land. That's
Yeah.
You're not going to basically make the land unusable by leaving bulbs everywhere, let's say.
No, let's say that. Absolutely not.
Yeah.
And so during this time, Amy had a wedding there. So it was beautifully set up and the site was looking gorgeous and it was a beautiful day. Like it had been pissing rain in Melbourne all weekend and it was April the 1st. So, and it was just all of a sudden I get there and I arrive on site and it was cloudy and sort of yuck and I get there on site and all of a sudden the heavens open, glorious blue skies and everything was just perfect for them. And yes, apologies to any vegans that see that meat cooking there, but that it smelled really good to me because I was on a fast.
Gluten loaves look like
yeah, I was on a fast at the time and couldn't eat anything, so I was just like, oh.
Do you mind if I just pin you down a little bit on the Doofism church? Because I'm actually interested because over the years I'll be honest, you're not the first person that's mentioned the idea of, starting a religion of something to do with techno, doof, whatever.
Of course.
And what I am interested in, because I know, look, I do have to be upfront. We have spoken before, but I was really interested how you were saying it's not about putting on a party. Because honestly, like even the first time you told me, I went away thinking, isn't that quaint? It's gonna we'll be able to put on parties, but have tax deductions because we're going to be a religion.
Well, that's a side benefit.
But then since talking to you again, I realised that it's actually not about that at all. So could you fill in a little bit about that side of it? Like why is it not going to just be parties?
Well, it's more than that. Like so a party, or should I say, a church congregation, is about the celebration of doof.
Yeah.
And so using and when I say doof, I use that term as a sound of a drum, basically. So it's particularly a kick drum, but it can be a handheld drum. It can either be amplified or not amplified. But with amplification, the power of that bass drum, that rhythm,
physically moves
the air, and you can become part of that, and through dancing and movement and becoming part of that rhythm, you soon get in the flow of the whole rhythm of life, and soon, after a while, you can get connection with all.
So it is, on one level, it is sort of harking back or harking forward to shamanistic practices of trance rhythms and the Haitian.
Absolutely.
Because the one thing that I found really interesting recently was the Haitian rhythms. In all modern music, it's usually 3/4/4/4. All the Haitian rhythms are 7s, 9s, 11s, and 13s. So you have that, like it's all, and that's probably why they end up biting heads off chickens. But, no. But so there is really an element of that. So there is an element of the sacrament. You could say, like there is something that you're quite seriously taking. The same you do in church. Like you can go to church and meet people as a social event, but there's an aspect to it which is personal and deeper.
Personal and deeper, and the sacredness of it. So I'm fortunate enough to actually get paid to go to doofs.
Okay.
So any sort of doof. So whether it be a heavy metal doof, whether it be a city festival doof, whether it be a bush doof. So over the years, I've witnessed millions of people experience and show their love for doof.
Yeah.
And so when I'm at an event and a unity wave is rising and about to hit and let go, that feeling is just amazing. That feeling transcends any drug or anything that you can do to yourself. Becoming part of a unity moment with a massive crowd is an amazing feeling. And so I'm getting paid for it, but I'll ride that with them. So I'm on a massive contact high as I'm cruising around all day. And so, obviously, in the position of responsibility that I'm in, I can't have a drink or have a drug or any of this stuff, but I'm I'm still partying pretty hard.
Yeah.
Like I'm still loving the moment and in with the moment.
Yeah.
So, that experience and the way that I feel about Doof and the way that I feel from there, I'd love to be able to expand that.
Yeah.
I'd love to be able to get people to understand that, no, it's not just about drugs. It's not just about getting off your head or getting or whatever. It is about letting go of your fear and connecting to the music. And through that connection to music, it's connection to source, connection to all.
Yeah.
So I'm looking at it at a religious aspect because it can really be powerful. It can be really transcending.
Well, should we say spiritual rather than religious?
Absolutely, yeah.
Because there's no as I'm aware, there's no real doctrine and
not really,
except for obviously care and self and love.
Apart from goodness,
yeah,
it's just and there's no rules, or there's no whatever, and you can follow whatever other belief system you want. It's not an exclusive belief system.
Yeah,
it's just that it's I guess it's for those that actually hold the their beliefs seriously about Doof like I do, and to be able to get people gathered together with their love of Doof to enjoy that in a way that's a little bit more wholesome, a little bit more pure, I guess, a bit more meaningful. And the whole idea with church services is to have a chat for about an hour, as you would at a church, and it's about community, it's about communion, it's about, okay, hey tribe, gather the tribe together, have a little bit of a chat about what's going on, put a call out, put some prayers out there for what's going on in the world or whatnot, but without without having a deity to, or without any of that stuff. You just with that, and also having a good dance. Just letting go.
When you were talking, and I was just thinking about it from a slightly, well, no, not really. What started to occur to me is it's almost like there's a lot of talk in the world. Everything's quick, and there aren't those sort of things like there used to be, the real community sense of the church when our parents' generation. Look, I know my dad really. His mum was a mother superior. There was all these nuns on one side of his family, but I know that he wasn't going to church because he felt that he needed to be at church. He was going to church because that's where him and mum got to talk to everyone.
Yep.
But when you're talking then, I was thinking about it, and in a world that on one level, a lot of the media in the world seems to want to cheapen a lot of our experiences or keep us a little bit separate from them. I was just realising that on one level you could talk about this as just using the current pop idiom or pop culture, but doing it in such a way that you give it meaning. So there's all these people out there who a lot of these people that go to these things and really love them and are connecting may not even realise that's what they're doing.
Yeah, absolutely.
And now we're putting the idea out there that these just normal public events, if you choose to make them like this, you can take into them your own sense of groundedness, and so it starts to work both ways, then, doesn't it? That ultimately any Doof becomes your church.
Absolutely, and so it was really amazing. Adian really pushed the church thing. Like I was hesitant in using the word church because of the connotations with that.
Yeah.
And however, the use of the word is needed to be an officially recognised religion in the US. They call it a church, the church whatever, and they call these things so the official label that's thrown on a religious organisation is church.
Well, it's like calling something a partnership or a not-for-profit. It's the same idea, isn't it?
Same idea, but so we're looking at, they've just registered a Church of Satanism in the US, and the US is, that's where the Australian government is registered as a business. So we might as
Church
well.
of Satan.
No, well, yeah, well, sorry.
I couldn't help it. It was going to be about the American.
No, let's
yeah.
All right.
I had to get out of myself.
So yeah, look, that's,
Okay, so you're going to register this on an international
level. So I've already got people in the US that are looking at it. I got off the phone yesterday from an Israeli gentleman that's also getting on board, and some people, some internationals through Melbourne Doofers. Thanks, Melbourne Doofers. I love your work. Have been getting to me as well, and it's saying we're fascinated by what you're doing.
Right.
And anyway, so getting sidetracked. I'm talking about the gig.
Yeah, no, that's good. Sorry, it was just hard because you kept talking about this thing, and I actually, it sounded interesting enough to want to know.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah, cool.
So,
okay, so Genesis.
So back to Genesis.
Yeah.
So we're working on it. That's my lovely wife Samantha, just blessing the beach. There's some people gathered for the wedding. Which was a beautiful wedding. But they were the celebrant was at the other side of the lake trying to call everyone in. Somebody told her that that's where it's being done. Everyone at the same time was moving around the other side, and so Addie and I looked at each other and were like, well, this isn't right. We better fix that. So we ran over and told the celebrant, and then they all panicked and had to hurry and rush over there. So we. In the meantime, we've got grinders going, we've got machineries going, we've got everything going, ready to just stop because we were working really hard to get everything happen, but we wanted that to be silent. But it actually bought us a little bit more time. So we got that into alignment, and there they are there, the beautiful, happily married couple that are rocking away.
Right.
And yes.
Lovely.
So
it's a bit of an auspicious beginning for a little plot of land, isn't it?
Well, we did a marriage ceremony before we even set up the church.
You kids nowadays.
So then we had a working bee, another working bee,
Yep.
and we got stuck into it. The crew, there was a crew that came in to help us too. Savage Arts crew came in to help. We got some plumbing work done, which was great. I brought some roof sheets. That were kindly donated and given to the church that I took off another job. But those roof sheets are beautiful, rustic, galvanised sheets that were to go up there. We dug Andy did. Andy just worked like a Trojan there to build the stairs and the stairway to heaven. There's me being safe as with a harness that's connected to a skyhook. To do the roof.
I know about skyhooks.
Yeah.
In the Navy.
They're the boys. They made that amazing sculpture that just appeared on a tree.
Yeah.
They put there to help us with that, and then we, started doing a little bit on the stage there, and we at the end of it we didn't do anything there with the stage too much. We just ran out of time, but yep. That's the sign for the start there. Not the start. That was the sign, so that people wouldn't get lost as they come in through the forest to welcome them to
through the wild lands of Trentham
to the Earth Heart Sanctuary. So Adian had called the space where we were holding the Genesis as the Earth Heart Sanctuary.
Oh, cool.
And so that came to him there as well, and so we had a list there of all the jobs to do. Adian's very organised in getting everything. Okay, we need to do this, and this, and we'd have our toolbox talks, and we'd get together and as a group discuss everything that needed to happen. The way that he went about it was just so lovely and beautiful and calm, and nothing was a problem, and it was just such a nice experience.
How things should be. Really.
Yeah, there's Andy working on the drums that he cut into ohms.
Yeah,
he called he calls them ums. I'm like, So they looked fantastic with the fire behind them. Yeah. We've got another shot there of the tractor cutting the trail in so that punters could come in. we had artists get behind us. VJ Light Soldier got in to help us with the design work of the logos, and the logos started getting out there.
Yeah.
He did that amazing logo there that, for me, says to me what this is all about.
Yeah.
And that's a whole other episode in itself for me to explain that one. So I'll move past.
Yeah, cool.
We're getting the volunteers
Well,
there.
this is my next question, actually, because people by now are going to be going, oh my God, it sounds like a bunch of hippies, or they're going to be going, my God, I want to find out how I can come and help. Like, so is there opportunities for people to come and put in time and energy? Or?
Yeah, absolutely.
So what do I need to do?
Well, we need to organise another gig, and then we'll work it out from there.
You mean service?
Yeah, service.
No. Yeah, okay,
But,
so that sort of information becomes, so people don't have to panic. Probably by the time this actually goes to air, there will be information all over the stream about where they can email.
Well, yeah, there'll only be another, Genesis will be at Easter time.
Okay,
like that's we've cemented that.
Okay, I like that. Yeah.
And it will be at the sanctuary.
Okay.
But what we've decided to do is we're not going over the top with Doof at the sanctuary. The sanctuary is really a special place of healing. Yeah. And we want to just use that land sparingly for Doof, but also we want to open it up to all sorts of workshops and meetings and as a healing centre. And to share it, with others, but to be in harmony with our surroundings, it's important for us to not crank the volume to super full capital letter Doof. Anyway, more of that later. But so the Earth Heart Sanctuary is that. So Adian did the logo for that, and he also put Church of Doof. Added that to the logo, so he's gone right out there with the church aspect. And every time, like I'm looking at all the church, and I'm thinking, oh, that's all a bit too much. It's too fucking churchy, man. A bit formal. No one's going to go. Yeah, they're all going to.
I really like the black and white thing in the design. It actually looks like something found in an old church somewhere, like from a long time ago.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just
anyway.
A lot of this stuff just happened organically. But anyway, the biggest thing for me was putting this onto Melbourne Doofers. Okay. And I had a very difficult decision to do that because I knew the ramifications of going public. So we'd set up a firewall with the phone number. So you see the phone number there, people would need to ring the phone number or leave their number with the phone and whatever in order to get details to know more stuff. So we had a level of control where we were able to, it was members only that we wanted to come in to the event. So were you just
worried about the scale of it?
Oh, absolutely. Right, okay. We had such a beautiful space there, and quite honestly, we would have been happy. 300 would have been the perfect number for us. We didn't quite get to that, but we were more than happy with not only the numbers that came, but the people that came and the vibe that was there, and everything was just really, really magical. There were a couple of testing situations which I'll explain a bit further on, but during this stage of the process, I'd said to Adian had asked me, because he was panicking, ticket sales hadn't been, membership sales had been slow, and we're a little bit worried. Costs were mounting up, and we wanted to do things right. So we had a lot of work to be done. So we're digging in drainage, materials for, building of the toilets, building of the kitchen, all the electrical work. So everything was cabled in a 3-phase, and everything's been done properly, and costing money. And also, Adian had, was getting in a international artist from Japan, Proact, that amazing psytrance, and great, that's all good, and its costs were escalating, and membership sales were not really going anywhere. So he'd asked me to put it to Melbourne Doofers. And even when I put the idea to the crew behind Melbourne Doofers, they warned me about it. They said, look, we're happy to do a banner for you. We're happy to be of support in whichever way we can. However, we need to make you aware of, you know, the ramifications, and they know full well that within their 31,000 subscribers, they have authorities looking at these things and they're going on and whatever, and it's going to ring alarm bells. And not only did I know that, also in my position professionally, I'm putting myself out there as being the name that's vouching for this. It took me more than an hour. I was stressing. I couldn't bring myself to do it. I was really stuck in a bind. But then I came to integrity. I had told Adian that I was going to do it. He asked me to do it, and I said yes, I would do it. So then when I came to the realization that I said yes, I said it was going to be doing it, but it's got to be done. Bang, click, and away we went. So we were up on Melbourne Doofers, which I think was a fantastic move looking back at it. We did ring some alarm bells or whatever, but the feedback that I had was positive. The people that we got through were positive, and was really rewarding for me when I was able to communicate directly with the people that were applying to become members of the group, who were answering the questionnaires so that I could get an understanding of their experience with doofing through the questionnaires. And so I was able to understand who was coming in through the door and what talents we had to help us with this creation.
So from what you're saying then, you're not just doing what a lot of people do and saying, oh no, it's not a ticket, it's membership. And from talking to you before, every single person that applied for membership you spoke to personally, didn't you? There was no sort of automated drop your credit card details here and you remember.
No.
It's a legit membership scenario.
Well, yeah. Well, that being said, really, when it first began, the amount of members that came through I could hardly take. I couldn't cope with. But towards the end there, I was the ones that were giving a response to the questions. Yeah. I was then taking the time to go to answer them back. Okay. And I was rewarded by that at the end there, because I had people saying to me, well, the reason why we're here is because you personally spoke to us and invited us. There was a lot of things on the weekend we weren't sure what we were going to do. And then we decided that...
Because when you told me you were doing that, because I love stuff like that. I love it when people stand behind, or for want of a better phrase, stand behind the product they sell. You were saying, integrity. There is a level of integrity because honestly, let's face it, and I'm not talking about in Victoria, I'm talking about years ago when I was doing stuff, we worked out that one of the ways around liquor laws in New South Wales was to serve a meal.
Oh, yeah.
This is a long time. It's how the piggery started in where Blues Fest is. That's how they started.
Yeah, right.
So you got a ticket when you went in with your door charge, and that was for a meal.
Yep. Understand.
And you know the rest.
Yeah.
But it's good. So I'm getting it. So okay. Cool.
Yeah, and then and there's another episode in just getting people to understand the legalities and logistics of events, and why and the framework, and also the and using the meanings of words and spellings or spells contained within them in order to do things the right way.
Yeah, cool.
And so with that, being conscious of that, I did that. Now, having done all of that, it was undone, and here we go. That's beautiful. That's Adian and his bird mate. I don't know what he's called, his bird mate, but that's the Earth Heart Sanctuary logo, and that's Adian, with his bird mate rocking out, and that's the little medallion. So I'll bet, and this
M-Dog, better try.
This is the medallion, and that was a winner to me, because there were three guys that appeared I saw them as they came in on the gate. I said, "G'day, how you going? What are you doing? What brings you here?" And like, "Oh, well, actually, those medallions. You got any of those medallions?" I said, "What do you mean?" They said, "Well, we really want one of those medallions. That's what got us in here. We go to events all the time because I know the kids, they wear the wristbands and they keep them on. They're dirty and they're manky and they're whatever, and they keep them as a badge of honour."
Yeah.
I'm like, "Yeah,
we used to keep ours on because we were too sideways to get them off. But now they choose it.
Yeah, like it's a fashion trend. So that's the story behind that.
Okay.
And I thought, well, if those three guys in doing that, that's basically paid for the rest of it. And the rest is all gravy then.
Yeah.
So, but also it's just being able for those that came along to have something to keep more than just a memory, more than just whatever. So from there they can, put it around the neck, they can hold it up, they can do whatever they like with it. But we did have the intention to inscribe the back of them with whatever, but got a bit hard after a while. Or maybe on the next gig we'll be a little bit more organised and have some volunteers, but that's their job, and at a certain time, go and get your inscription. But the idea is for every show that we do, there'll be something. There'll be a gift to say, cool. This is your membership. Thank you for So we also had these cut and made up, so they were on there. That's a shot of the roof there where some of the roof that was donated for the kitchen area.
Handsome chaps.
These
are beautiful looking.
These are videos that I did a shit job on the slider, and I'll edit that in post. So
for those of you who can't see it, it looks amazing.
Yeah. And what I want to show you is that tree of life there, which that really is amazing. So the directions were turn right at the tree of life.
Yep.
And so you couldn't miss that, because as soon as you drove down the road, if it was at night time, your lights had hit those CDs and rainbows would come out. No shit. You'd be there and rainbows.
Yeah,
it's just amazing. And they weren't actually supposed to be CDs. They were supposed to be another design of, you had some special holographic things, that Tree of Life that were getting made. I think it's Tree of Life. Anyway. But so he put CDs on there, but actually the CDs worked so well. Yeah. And anyway, so Good Friday. So we're rocking on Good Friday. The crew's cooking up in there, cooking the food for everyone, all around the campfire. Tunes are playing. The system's set. So I just had a small system, like 3 speakers, but really well engineered and well designed, really efficient, good sound. Yeah. So that was all working really well. But then I had to leave and go to another show. I was working. So I was working at Carl Cox Pure. And
look, there you are with Carl.
Yeah. So just rocking out with the Easter Bunny, getting clean after me doof. It's a bit different,
scale, isn't it?
And the funny thing is that the gig was called Pure.
Yeah.
But I've got to say, coming from the sanctuary to pureness. Yeah, there wasn't too much pure going on, and like the vibe was still electric. It was still a really good gig, but it's such a different energy. Yeah. And I had a wonderful time, but I was really, really tired, like exhausted. Yeah. But what I did was I did my old trick of getting energy from the crowd. Yeah. So I'm getting better and better at that, more, and I find that the more energy that I give, the more I get back. So where the punters were all at the front of the barrier, they couldn't see the DJ because it was right up high. All they could see was the front. There was nothing for them to look at. So they couldn't see any of the light shows or anything else. And they're all at the front of the barrier like everyone, all the devoted followers love to do. So me and the security were just rocking out, putting on a show for the crew. Yeah, right. So I was just dancing up a treat. Had this security guard that really gave me a run for the money. Like dance, like I like to let go, but he was. So we were just like putting on a show. He was on one side, I was on the other side, and we were just having a show, and all the kids were having a ball, get their cameras out, look at this. Stuff. Yeah, they started jostling for position so they could all get the cameras out. There he is. hey, come over here. So, and at one stage, I've got to say, part of the story is getting the megaphone. So, anyone that knows me knows that I'm impartial to a microphone or a megaphone. Just like to get, because I can't be loud enough.
You like having a chat.
Yeah. So I've got a megaphone so that I can direct people as they're leaving to go to the trains, because it's a cluster with Ubers. So you get your Ubers out the front and everywhere, and they don't know where they're going, and they block the streets. And we'd organised the transport, the train, so I had it all in plan. But you know, you got to herd the sheep and tell them where to go. So all right, trains this way, train, guys. You get a train, just turn right, go to the train, just walk to your right, get the train, quickest way home, blah, blah, blah. But on my way there, I was walking to get there, and then the quickest way, of course, was go to the barrier and then out. And as I'm walking, you spin me right round, baby, right round, like a record, baby, right round, round, round. I've got the megaphone, I'm standing up on the barrier, I'm putting on a show. So these are all the punters that I've been rocking out with during the day, and also giving them water. So I'm their best mate. I'm giving them water and looking after them too, high-fiving them, woo-woo, taking photos for them, everything else. So the energy I got from that, like that was enough for me to just, you know, yell at everyone at the end and then get me back to the bush, but also the energy that I got from the space. So I was a bit tired as I was driving in about 1 o'clock at night. And that was Saturday night. I got back because the show was on Saturday. Now, during the day, during the show at Pure, I got the phone call. While I was away, they'd cranked the system up to 11, and it could be heard for kilometres away. Neighbours were complaining because their windows were rattling and all this stuff, and police came, and and I got the phone calls during the day when I was at Pure. And I was stressed, but not overly stressed. Like, if you have a look, like, I'd already had the news. Like, you can see how stressed I was there. I wasn't that stressed. Didn't worry me too much. I'd already got the news and just thought,
the story the rabbit's putting out, he's just going to start as a fucking wart under me arm.
Yeah. So anyway, so we get to that, and then the show. Oh, how do I play that one, Mr. Producer? I want to play this video. Does that? I just pretend I did, yeah. We'll do it in post. So that's playing. Can you hear that?
The lights are tripping me out.
Yeah. And then that's the end. So
that's sort of quite beautiful in a way.
It is beautiful.
Dystopian 2001 way.
I know. The stage was just incredible.
Yeah, that's quite.
And to be honest, I was surprised with the amount of mess left there. Like, there's a bit of mess, but it's not too bad.
It's
I know.
Not too bad, is it?
Like, it was a sellout crowd, 6,000 people.
Yeah, right.
And bang, that was it. So I took that because I was thinking, that's a really impressive one. So anyway, I then get back and the kids, and then anyway, this is Sunday morning, so I'm getting ready for the church service in the morning.
Yeah.
So I started off, getting everything going. Then there was the Easter egg hunt and just playing some fun tunes for the kids, a bit of Shake It Off and whatever, and just having a lot of fun out there with the kiddies.
And the dinosaurs getting ready for the extinction event.
Yes. And anyway, so that's another video that'll play through in post, and gets to another shot. And I got the camera out to take some photos. This is on the Monday. So the Sunday, didn't really take any shots, just enjoying meeting everyone and talking. I actually did a talk on Sunday after I played some tunes. I did a talk on Doofism, and had a few people come to listen to that, which was good. I let out some stories there, which actually surprised myself when it came out. It always does when you don't know what you're going to say until you say it.
Yeah.
And then just some more photos.
Never listened back to the tapes.
So those might look familiar. That's VJ Light Soldier.
Yeah.
Awesome,
Nice.
awesome, and loving it. So that made the kitchen look really good.
Yeah.
That's the workshop space that we had set up. So that's where I did my little talk, and other people did their talks on various topics. And I've got to say big thanks to all the people that were involved in the workshops and DJs and performers and people, anyone that went and experienced the show. It's just thank you, and thank you for sharing in this story. And people on the Monday just hanging out. You know, I've got to say one thing: the dogs was almost out of control. Did you notice the dogs when you were there? Like, there's something. That's another show in itself. It is another conversation. Doof dogs.
Well, do you know what the conversation is for me? It's not about specific subjects. It's about. I felt like when I was thinking about it the other day, I felt like my own granddad, because what I heard myself saying was things like, "Well, there's hard decisions, and you got to make them at the beginning." Because you can't get halfway through and tell people they can't bring their dog.
That's right.
Got to start.
And
then I was thinking about it and I thought, you know what? It's actually sensible. You know, those...
Right. Well, it did start at the beginning, believe it or not. It said no dogs.
Yeah.
Right? Well, we had a few people that, you know, it's our doof dog. It's used to
like they're the hard ones. Your friends. Isn't it funny how your friends are always...
Yeah.
Do you know my old printing boss? You know what he used to do? Whenever a member of his family wanted to print it, he'd pull me aside one day and go, "Stevie, I tell you what to do, right? Whenever you're doing a job for a friend or a member of your family, add 30% contingency to your quote." And I thought he was joking. I thought he was taking a piss. And I said, "What do you mean? Don't you do that?" He goes, "Seriously, minimum any job for a family is going to do is cost you 30% more in shit and hassle than any other job you do." And you know, it's one of those things that at the time I thought, you know, he's having a bit of a go, blah, blah. But honestly, it's like, and it's not just, it's whenever you do stuff that involves your friends, it's inevitably harder.
Inevitably.
Black and white.
Inevitably. It's hard. But anyway, the dogs were great.
So in the future, because there are going to be people watching this, and there could be people watching this the weekend before next Easter. If so, see you next week. But so is it going to be no dogs from now on, or is it not decided yet? I just think that's an important point.
Well, it's a very important point.
You're not sure.
And look, the owners were all responsible actually. So they all had, the dogs had their tetherings, and that they were all able to be there, and generally they were all pretty well behaved. But there were times when they just put on too much of a show, with too much of a distraction, and that type of energy, like we sort of, so that, you know, they're becoming violent. That sort of confrontation is what we're there to avoid. We're there to experience peace and harmony, and that is an issue when these animals, as much as you love them or whatever, they get together and they bring in a different energy.
Do you know what I forgot about until I was there? Is some people aren't animal people. I forget, because I've grown up my whole life. Some people are petrified when they see a dog.
Absolutely.
And I forget about that. But it's really legit for some people.
Really legit. Yeah. Totally legit.
Yeah.
Especially if your religion doesn't appreciate dogs, then there's a huge fear about dogs. But also, what I've got to worry about, I've got my gorgeous little angels there. I've got my kids there, and there's other kids there, right? Yeah. So, you know, it's a topic to be expanded on further. But anyway, I digress. I do love dogs. But let's move on.
Okay.
That was the Crystal Mandala with some of the stuff there. And to finish things up, we had the lovely Tully that played some beautiful, beautiful heartfelt songs and music. And the vibe at the end there, so she was the last act and winding everything down. And it was so gorgeous. The sun just poked through like it was a cooler day. But then while she was playing, the sun just shone through at the right angle. Yeah. And it was just magical, and everyone, you know, around enjoying themselves around the campfire, you know, dogs sniffing each other's butts and everything else. And it was all just really, really beautiful. Lots of frisbee work going on. Geez, it was funny watching the dachshund chase the frisbee. Did you see that?
You know what what I loved is as it was running towards you, holding the frisbee, all you could see was the frisbee. It was like this frisbee just levitating towards. It's like, oh my god! But yeah. I was actually telling our good fair producer. When I was a kid, my mum used to show dachshunds, right?
Right.
And so for me, seeing a dachshund was like this really weird thing because I remember loving them, but I also remember every time I saw them, I was fucking bored shitless. But they were amazing.
It was funny, and that was the first time you can see in that shot there the tripod. So that's a camera tripod, or looked to me like a camera tripod, and then the fire got going, and that got put over the fire with a cast iron pot over it. And I'm looking and thinking that's plastic, legs are going to melt or whatever, but obviously it was carbon fibre or something else. And I thought, what a clever use of a camera tripod to whack
cooking from the future.
Yeah. So anyway, I learnt something there that day, and that was it. So everyone there dancing and having fun. And this moment here, Claudia, if I remember her name correctly, I sniped that shot. That was a shot totally, I was ages away. I've got a 400mm camera zoom lens. And so I was right on the dance floor. She was on the top of the hill. And that was a moment that she'd looked through and the light and saw people play. Like this is that's sort of what she was looking at. Just people really enjoying themselves and having fun and beautiful music playing. And her expression there just sums it all up. Just loving it. Just going glorious. How good's life?
I think the phrase that we used to use was smiling her face off.
Yeah. So smiles currency, as we spoke about with Rob. Yeah. Priceless.
Yeah, absolutely.
That was, safety officer and me coming out. Hey, hang on.
Yeah. So what else?
So we're nearly there at the end there. So this is the Monday. Everyone hanging out by the beach and everyone, just having fun, just really relaxing and cool. And this moment here, this photo is one of my favourite photos. This gentleman's, your Ute farmer meeting your Ute tribal side transhippie, not farmer. A beautiful soul, David, an amazing light worker, just all next level stuff, and with his plume, with his featherage, and behind him you've got Adrian and you've got Danielle looking on. So they're shaking hands and bonding now. Initially it wasn't like that. Initially the farmer wanted to just destroy everyone and everything. The Doof had kept him up at night and it was drama. But when he came down and experienced it, people were going out of their way to give him some attention. But he was just vibing it and loving it. And his dog there was playing with the other dogs and everything. It just became really good. And that's actually probably the favourite photo that I have from the whole experience. And there's I'll call him Priest. There's Priest Adion. I love you, Adion. He was just so gorgeous for the whole experience. And even getting threatened to have his kneecaps broken and his face smashed in and everything else by some of the heat that came from the locals, they ended up coming back and saying, "Oh, mate, is it all right if my nephews come and have a look at this? I reckon they'd love it. This would be all right." So he just radiated that beautiful, warm lovingness that the whole time, regardless of what was thrown at him. And we had a lot of angry and authoritative people in blue shirts come in and not present things the way that I guess that they could have been, or present themselves in the most glorious manner. But it was all handled with love, and from my experience and everything I've done, love conquers all. And Adian was a shining example of that during the whole event. No matter anything went right or wrong, there's no right or wrong. There's he just one foot in front of the other, and every situation he dealt with so lovingly, and it was a sight to behold. And it's a final shot, just a punter, just loving it at the end there. Yep, thumbs up. Another one at the lake there. Tully just rocking out a little smile at the end of her set, and I decided to give the next show a plug. So a couple of years ago, I did a show called Vision Quest to pay homage to the visual artists that I love so much, present a visual art showcase. And, I'd love to get together with the guys and put on another show at the Sanctuary where the visionary art from all over, but including there's a lot of artists around the Dalesford, Trentham community who would love to get their stuff shown. So an art showcase with a little bit of doof. Got to have a bit of doof. Might just have a service on the Sunday, but...
Have you got a time frame?
Yeah.
Are you going to say it out loud?
No.
Or later?
Yeah. Yeah. We'll wait for it to get a bit warmer, let's just put it that way.
Alrighty.
Yeah, gets a bit cold out there. And, Adrian saying goodbye. I've got a little speech that a beautiful speech. I didn't capture all of it. I was kicking myself because the start of it was beautiful, but how it ended up was just amazing. Anyway, I need to learn to, I should have had my finger on the trigger for a bit longer recording that. Anyway, that's the story of Genesis.
Fantastic. So I think if people aren't interested enough already, then they're probably asleep. But I wanted to check before we go, is there anything else quickly that you want to say, either about this or about anything else?
Yeah, actually. So from my experience there and my experience with the land and everything that transpired for the event and the community and whatnot, and my understanding now of the land and the sanctuary itself, kind of decided that really it is a very powerful healing space. And I know that personally, because the other day that I went there, I woke up with a migraine. I had a shocking headache and felt bad all day. Now, I've been straight and clear for ages. I went there on a Sunday, like I'm not like hungover going, I live clean and do everything as I should, as a good religious leader should. As
a good holy father should.
Yeah. So I'm on my way there and I'm really struggling. I've got this pain, this migraine, everything else, and then I get there and I sit down for a little while, and then I just think, what's different? There's something different. What's missing? And what was missing was that pain that I was feeling in my head, that anxiousness, it was just, I felt so calm and so peaceful, and it just really sunk into the power of the land. The birds were singing to me, the wind was singing to everything, and just the serenity of it all. I just decided that I'm going to be treating Doof very, 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 very carefully on that spot. Like, so what we choose to do with the sanctuary is going to be more towards healing than partying.
My vibe out there was all about like artists in residence camps and doing stuff with kids and absolutely.
So look, and incidentally, we've found through all of this, we've found a much better site where we can make some noise and lay down some serious doof without upsetting the neighbours or doing it harmoniously and beautifully. So I guess that was one of the things that I wanted to add, is that through that experience, I let the tribe know that all of a sudden we've got 750 members of our community for the Genesis page, and I just let the community know that Church of Doof might be doing things occasionally there, but going to find another home so we can really doof it up. So I then moved to register, the Facebook page for Church of Doof and get everything sorted for Church of Doof to move on.
And at the risk of mixing our metaphors, it's a part of the story. We've got to get kicked out of the garden. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
That's great, Mark. Thank you. Thanks, Heath.
No worries, mate.
Thanks for doing it all in the first place, but thanks for sharing. And I'll probably have a bit of a dance in the next one.
You'll have to play some tunes in between playing tunes. Yeah, rock and funk.
Yes, I'd
Yeah.
love to.
All right, Steve.
Cheers.
Cheers, mate.
It's good. That was fun, man.
That was fun.
The Great Spirit has brought us together as a tribe, as a mob, to come and worship in sacred land at the Church of Doof. Amen.